What's up, homies? Welcome back to another episode. Aaron's got some sunglasses on.
This is the
If
year
you're
three,
listening to this,
motherfucker. We're all going to be wearing shades. Right?
hey,
Our
yeah,
future's so bright.
yeah, man, got to wear shades. I
I know the
today
guy
I
that
looked
wrote
up.
that, actually.
I looked up when we started the podcast, this podcast, and we started it in June of 2022. So it's been over 3 years. It's been almost 3.5 years, three and a quarter. And Aaron and I were shaking our
Crazy.
heads like, "What? How was that? How is that
I know,
possible?"
right? In
Feels
dog
like
years, that's like 21 years.
feels like just yesterday, Aaron, sharing space with you.
No, dude.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, honey. You're my best friend.
Oh God. But Aaron was dropping some bombs before we hit record here on well, I don't know, how do you want to set this up? Production, performance,
Yeah, well, I think
action.
so. I'm my third quarter is going to be better than my best year. So I thought, okay, that's a breakthrough in performance.
Yeah.
What's that
Right.
attributable to, and how do we get to the source of that? Because I'd like to do that again.
Right.
I mean, we could have it be like, well, that was just luck, or that was just, whatever. That was just the way things went, or, you know, whatever. But if you can get to the source of something, you can reproduce it. I'm a big believer in doing the work to take apart what works and what doesn't work. So you can, and I, and that's a whole separate technology. That's a whole separate set of distinctions. Getting to the source of something,
Right.
is an interesting conversation because people don't know how to do that. We
Yeah.
could go down that rabbit hole at some point. Um, but for now, if those words in a sentence don't mean anything to you, getting to the source of something, um, I really just mean inventing a perspective of the situation that empowers you, that you can get committed to as having something to do with the results. In other words, well, you'll hear what we go through in this, but the point of it is, oh, if I did that, I would get that result. And then you go out and try and get that. You do that and see what the results are. And if you keep getting the same results from taking those actions, then you know that's the source of those results are those actions. Um,
Hmm.
so I know it's a little bit about it. I think more of it will open up in this.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were talking about how to get to the source of that, and I've been sort of hesitant to hang my hat on the source of it as my meditation.
The source of your breakthrough.
Yeah, the source of the breakthrough is being my meditation. Like, how is that possible? Despite Michael Singer's work,
Sure.
despite everything from Joe Dispenza and everything from Esther Hicks and everything that from Ram Dass, from everything that we've ever read historically about the law. Look at that. Hello, New York.
Ooh, yeah, I heard it.
Ooh,
Law.
law. Look at that. Every now and then.
You caught it. That was impressive. Your awareness of now is
That was I
very
always
attuned.
catch. I rarely New York and don't catch it because it's so obvious. It's not that I have not spent any time to um uh accent myself,
D York.
de
D
York
York.
myself. But and I've never really had that accent heavily, but when I hear it, I'm like, look at me. I'm walking here.
Yeah.
Um uh anyway, everything we ever led from the law of attraction or anything like that all points to this kind of a breakthrough is available,
Mm,
and I've thought about it for years. I mean,
yeah.
years and years of trying to get here.
Mm, mm.
And I'm a little hesitant to call it a here because I think that turns it into a thing.
Yeah.
Um, and that's got its own problems, turning it into a thing. Um, but at any rate, despite all that, here, I find myself in that space. And I'm interested in, all right, well, how did I get here? So I was, if I'm going to attribute it to meditation, which is really the only thing that's particularly changed, is that the thing that I'm doing that's different is meditating regularly, reliably, mind and living mindfully, like bringing mindfulness into my daily life.
Hmm.
Multiple, practicing listening, practicing breathing, intentionally letting go of the thoughts and stepping behind the waterfall and just noticing on multiple occasions every day, like not just sitting for 15 minutes. Although honestly, I sit for 45 most days. Um, but like I have an app on my phone that before it lets me log into Facebook, it gives me like a 30-second pause.
Oh,
So it's just a little bit of friction.
yeah. Interesting.
And it's got a little animation on it that gives me a chance to just close my eyes and feel my feet on the floor. And I probably log on to Facebook 15 times a day or Instagram, like so I have it linked up to all my socials.
Right.
Probably 15, 20 times a day, I'm taking that pause.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, and I was looking at, okay, well, what's the science behind that? What's the, we talk now about science as if it were distinct from woo, even though clearly there's a convergence of science and woo,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Enter Joe Dispenza. I mean, I think his
Yeah,
conversation is very much a combination of science and woo.
yeah, just, and Joe Dispenza and quantum entanglement
Yep.
and,
Yep.
um, all that, pointing to, there's no such thing as woo.
Right.
The no self, no problem. The book's no, how
Psychology.
neuropsychology is catching up to Buddhism. There is no,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, we've just now developed the capacity to measure
Right.
what's
Yeah.
been known by what we've considered woo.
Yeah.
And even the whole world of woo is just the left brain scoffing at anything that it doesn't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Right.
It's
Brings
really,
us back to materialism, like when we talked about telepathy tapes, and the
yes.
reason that they don't that the industry of whatever that industry is doesn't like telepathy is like we can't measure that. That's not scientific. It's not measurable. Yeah.
Right. It's not measurable by our instruments, but
Yes.
by
Right.
that, right. So we could still be doing bloodletting. And in the meantime, we now have, you know, Tylenol causing autism. So we're going backwards. So,
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
but fucking insane. Anyway, um, uh, I was looking at what's the law, what's the pathway there of meditation producing those kind of results. And what I came to is first, the only thing that so there's sort of a formula or at least the logic to this is that, okay, if we start with the only thing that produces results is acting, and we stand there, and that's about as materialistic as you can get, right? Like,
Like taking action. Yeah.
yeah, taking action is the only thing that's going to produce a result. You can only produce a result in the physical universe by acting in the physical universe. You don't produce a result by thinking about producing a result,
Yeah.
right? Which some of the deeply woo people may have a problem with, but certainly no materialist would have a problem with,
Right.
right? If you're going to produce a result in the physical world, you need to act in the physical world. All right, start there. And then when is the only time you can act?
Now.
Now. So you can only act now. You can't act in the future, and you certainly can't act in the past. The only time to act is now. All the action that you're ever going to take happens now and never happens any other time.
Hmm.
All action happens now. So it's at least conceivable that if you could alter how now, if you could alter your now, if you can transform your now, if you could change your now, if your now is different, then you have a chance of producing a different kind of result because the space in which you're acting, the time in which you're acting is distinct. The actions you take are
Yep.
distinct because they're in a distinct now. And I was, and I know meditation changes your now. That's what
Yeah.
meditation does, is it changes your now. It takes out of now all the conversations about before and later, you know,
Yeah.
before and future, after and future,
Hmm.
right? It takes all those out and leaves you just with a space now,
Yeah.
leaves you with a clearing now.
Hmm.
You become available now. And that's pretty fucking cool. That's like, okay. And then so I know meditation does that. And then I was looking at, well, where can we look for people that, you know, have this? And I was thinking about athletes and, you know, top performers like that, certainly in the world of athletics.
Right.
Um, you know, they have their now is distinct,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you got Michael Jordan seeing, everyone who ever talks about being in the zone talks about the game slowing down. Their
Hmm.
now is different. The now in which they're acting, they see different things to act on. They can act differently on the things they see. They can act differently compared to what it would be like if their now were some other way, the way it is for their opponent. It's not just their physical gifts are unique. Like it wouldn't matter how my now occurred. I'm not beating Michael Jordan even today on a game of one-on-one, right? Um,
But maybe at CrossFit you would.
no, nothing. And but the now is but the fact that he has a different now in which to act is interesting to me. So
Yeah.
I think there's this whole world of if you tend to your now, right? If you tend to what's in the space of now, you can alter your performance and alter your results. And I think that's what's been happening for me.
Mm. Hmm. And to your point, it's the only thing that's different.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can really see is any different, right? That I don't think there's anything different in the market, and there's nothing different in um I mean, I'm doing if anything was different, what's different is I'm doing less traditional lead generation
Right.
than I've
Right.
done.
It's not like you say, "Oh, in this quarter I made more calls."
I've made I've made less calls than I've ever made,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And
interesting
what there
also.
was to work on in the now was my book and my mindfulness work and this podcast, and that's what you know that was what the opening for now gave me was to go to do this work. And
Mhm.
the more I did this work, the more people called me to sell their houses, which I can't particularly. The only way I can understand that, and I think anyone who's listening who does lead generation, and certainly in real estate, um, recognizes the phenomenon, and this was always true for me, was as long as I did my 10 contacts a day, I didn't have to get a deal from one of those 10. Somewhere else, something was going to come in,
Yeah.
right? There was a pressing out into the universe to alert the universe that I am doing the work and the universe would respond. And there's probably lots of different ways to language that, but I think that's a universal. I got no problem standing there.
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
I don't know. Did you ever find that? Is that
I I yes and no. I don't think I'm as attuned to it as you are. I think I have many experiences where in the space of manifestation, like manifesting things, like putting my energy and my heart, my what feels good about the thing I want and having things show up about that. I also think I'm very related to how frustrating, it can be to try to produce a result and it doesn't show up. So
right?
not that And I don't know that you can put a time, I don't think you can reduce this to like, if you just meditate for the next
Yeah.
30 days, like you should have a
No.
result in 60 days. It's not like that. So,
It's in fact, you can't do that because that would then be, that thing you said about being frustrated about the results not showing up, right?
right.
Is It's really interesting. I mean, it's a very Zen paradox. It's a very paradoxical situation because you can't, the frustration is a form of attachment
Yeah.
to the result,
Absolutely.
and
Yep.
meditation is letting go of all those attachments. So you've got to be, if you wanted, if I was going to put a name on what I'm doing, is I have been tending to being grateful.
Ah,
Not surprising to you, that's everything I do is inside the world of being grateful. Um, but that space of acknowledging and appreciating the present moment as a gift, which would include all the results I didn't get,
yeah.
right?
T-
Appreciating those as a gift. I like I just lost, I lost the deal I thought I was going to have,
yeah.
and when I first got the message, which was Saturday. Yeah, I just got this. I didn't even tell you about this. So on Saturday, I got a text saying that they were going to go another direction. And, that sucked. I hate that. I
Yeah.
fucking hate that. And I don't know, maybe within an hour, 2 hours, maybe,
Yeah.
I had this thought, which is a thought that I generally don't have, which was, wow, I wonder what the universe just saved me from.
Hmm. Uh-huh.
I wonder
Yeah.
what I'm not going to have to deal with now
Interesting. Yeah.
that this is the case.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's interesting.
And I've never had that thought. I may have had that thought like I'm supposed to have that thought. Like I may have had it like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
like what one of those aphorisms, like, it's never whatever, like slapping a bumper sticker on it. Um, hanging
Right.
to, it's gonna be
Right.
okay. Um,
Yeah.
but this really was like, oh yeah, I'll bet that really was, you know, I dodged a bullet and I don't know it yet.
I want in your last year, like if you think about the last year, which is sort of the time frame we've been talking about
Mhm.
here, do you? So you're not saying like you don't have frustration or frustrating moments.
Definitely
You're
not.
saying you just like you just get grateful sooner, or what happens
Yeah,
for you?
I think that's right. I just get grateful sooner.
Uh-huh.
I mean, God knows I'm deeply grateful for the women I dated that turned out not to be the right people
Hmm.
so that I could meet the right person. Like I never, I never recount the broken heart I had when, you know, Michelle and I broke up with anything but gratitude for having had that experience with her because I now have this experience with, my wife.
Yeah.
Like everything turns out for the best. Everything is upward spiral. But, now is that just a case of privilege? I, you
Bumper
know,
sticker. A
you
bumper
know,
sticker. Everything turns out for the
I
best.
know it's a bumper sticker. I know it's a fucking bumper sticker, and I don't really,
But okay, but that's your now occurring different for you than it does for us who are frustrated. Like our
yeah,
attachment to the frustration is
yeah,
different
I
than
really,
your. Yeah.
yeah. I've talked to my clients about this forever, like really forever, buyers particularly. When you miss out on a house, remember during the great bidding wars of 2020?
Yeah.
Bidding wars. I survived the bidding wars of 2020.
Yeah. Back in my
Uh,
day.
but you'd miss out on a house, you'd miss out on a house, you'd miss out on a house, and all of a sudden, you'd be like, fuck it, I don't want to buy a house anymore. Versus, wait a minute, you can't miss your house. You can't not be able to buy your house.
Mm,
Your
mm.
house is, if you didn't get it, it wasn't your house. Just like all
Evidently,
those,
evidently.
right? All those people you broke up with before you met your wife weren't your wife, you know? Um,
Right.
so it's something that I've had in the foreground for a while for other people and in particular situations. And I've certainly had it for myself, but I also have it for myself a little bit like, is that just a little bit of a privileged situation because I've had it really, really easy and then in the background is
Sure.
God forbid one of my children died. That is really like the
Yeah.
thought that's there. Um, like would I still say this?
Right.
And I know
Right. Because I was going to
people,
say, like, it sounds, I'm just devil's
yeah,
advocate
yeah,
here,
yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
just saying, like, it sounds convenient to point to in a moment where things are all systems go for you. You point
Yes,
to a practice that's working out for you and you go, look, I made fire. Look,
right.
I had a best year because I've been meditating. And then what happens if next year the shit hits the fan? Can you do you then also conveniently just point to, well, then this must not be my year, and the universe is protecting me for something, like from something like.
Yeah, I think that's a really good devil's advocate position that I don't have an answer to. Right? I mean, I just don't have that answer. I don't know what would happen if,
All right.
you know?
Well,
Um,
I mean, there's a false a pretense. There's a story I want to have called, I found the thing that produced a result, and then I will never go backwards. I will nothing bad.
right.
My ceiling has now become my floor, and it will never be a ceiling again. Like, I will only go up and to the right with my results,
Right.
and I'll never face hardship again this way. That's what I want.
Yes.
And maybe I'm putting that my hope in, all of this woo woo, law of attraction stuff to be that answer, when I'm not sure that that's how it works.
Right. I am quite sure that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Um, Especially given the nature of certainly the nature of the meditation that I'm doing, which is the middle way, find letting go of all attachments, including your
Mm.
the fears I'm attached to of my kids dying, which is the biggest tragedy I can imagine. And the attachment to the dream of whatever, private jets and
Yeah.
hookers and blow, right? Like that's
Right. Right. Yeah, man.
kids dying, hookers and blow. Those are the two
Oh god.
ends of the spectrum.
Wow.
Um, but being with what's here now in a way that, knowing that it's all an illusion. I mean, I can say the words, but fuck, does it not feel like an illusion? And that's what meditation is for, is to get that
Mm.
it's,
Mm.
where everything, nothing. Boy, I'm really saying this from a position of being very attached and very um, interesting. The more I try and get this as to something that's reproducible, the
Yeah.
more I get it in, I leave the ethereal for the materialistic.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like I'm keep trying to ground it in materialism.
Uh,
Like somehow materialism has credibility
mm. Mm. Hmm.
when,
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's more credible than Ram Dass or Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't have any like, oh yeah, well, they're not really credible. I mean, for
Right.
me, those are the, you know,
Right.
most
Yeah.
credible people. And all they did was completely let go.
Mm.
And it's the same,
Right.
I mean, it's the same thing with Michael Singer.
Right.
You just
Yeah.
let go. But
Uh,
it also means of letting go of the concern that it's going to disappear because it's going to disappear. This is going
right.
to fucking end.
Right.
Everything
Right.
ends. Everything fucking dies. Everything fucking dies. This is going to end. But the end of it isn't. See, I think that's a big piece of it is that, yes, it's going to end. And yes, my children are going to die, and I hope I die before they do. But that's, you know,
Hmm.
what it comes down to. And I hope that we're all around long enough to even want to be alive, given the way things are rolling, you know.
Yeah.
But being able to let go of my need to have those things happen before I'm grateful, I think is a big deal.
Mm.
Like, I don't need a reassurance that this is going to last forever to be grateful now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right.
and I think tilling that soil of being grateful now makes a difference. And I know that you can't get there by wanting to get there. I know you can't get there by
Yeah.
striving to get there.
That's
You
what I wanted to say about Michael Singer was like uh, how how he wrote his story versus how I read his story are different because he talks about doing yoga and his story is remarkable. He took a company public. This, I mean, it was a whole thing. But if you actually listen to the whole story, there was all kinds of ups and downs and dramatic bad like situations. There was like lawsuits and there was all kinds of stuff. So it wasn't like his ceiling became his floor and he never went to tragedy. There's all kinds of stuff that could be heartbreak or upset. But how I read it was, oh my God, look, he took a company public and all his floor became his ceiling and he just soared straight up and to the right. And nothing bad ever happened because he did yoga poses.
yeah,
But that's not the story. The story is actually, if you could hear it, the story is all the ups and downs. And he just wanted to shut off the voice in his head and get to now. He wanted to
right.
get to now. And then he just showed up and gave whatever gratitude and service he could for the things that showed up.
Yeah, and
And
including all those, I don't want it to end, and I'm afraid the other shoe is going to drop, and
right,
what happens if this isn't the case next year? And what if what if I break through this and wind up
right.
destitute, or
Well, that was the voice he was trying to
you get rid.
shut up.
That's right. And you shut that up, not by wanting to shut it up, but by hearing it and letting it go and
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
getting that that's not
Right.
that's not me. That is
Yeah,
part and parcel of the um machine.
yeah.
And it's just there. And I don't have to give it any I literally doesn't need or deserve any more attention than that. And it's there and it gets
That's a
whatever attention it gets, but then I let it go and take whatever the next action is. So, you know,
it's a great example of how his now is different than other people's now.
yeah, right.
Like in the middle of a lawsuit, let's say, because he had a huge one, his voice he's shutting up allows him to be present now versus somebody else's voice who's going off causes them to react to all the things in their voice. I got to do this, I got to do that. This is bad, that's bad. I'm worried. But his now was much occurred differently and allowed him to perform
Right.
differently than somebody else who'd be in a similar situation like me. I don't know that I have that presence at this stage of my development too. I think that would have
Right.
occurred differently for me.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing comes from a, I mean, the heart of it is, I don't know if it's the ultimate Buddhist paradox, but, the Buddha sat with an desire to lose his desires
Mm.
and discovered that when you lose your desire, you achieve nirvana. But he sat with the intention of losing his desire. He had a desire to lose his desires.
Mm.
And that's the paradox that we're in, is that we're in this game you know, to let go of attaining something, but we're sitting with the intention of attaining that.
All right.
And you got
Yeah.
to let go of your attachment to attaining it. But what brought you to the cushion in the first place was the intention to attain it.
Wow.
And then you got to let go of it, wanting to attain it. And then you get to attain it. But not until you
Uh-huh.
like the movie Swingers is such a good movie for this. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Uh-uh.
Have you ever seen it?
I don't think so.
it's a John Favreau and Vince Vaughn, but
Okay.
like when they were, I mean, it's got to be a 25-year-old movie at this point. So they're much younger. And it's about a guy that, breaks up with his girlfriend and moves to LA with his buddy. And all the iterations of his being upset and obsessed with his ex and all the different, you know, comedy that ensues. And it's really well done and really well written. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, despite the fact that it's 30 years old. It's an amazing date night movie. It's an amazing movie for exactly this scenario of, the pathway, the your now needs to be absent fear,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Or hope. Your now
Yeah.
just it needs to be now.
Wow.
And when it is now, and so there's that. And then that, just let that sit for a minute. And then the other thing I think that was intentionally different about my year so far was, um, again, somewhat paradoxically, you know, uh, dealing with acting on my passion while maintaining a floor. Like if I get below a certain level of income, I I don't have
Mm-hmm.
the thing I get
Sure.
passionate. I don't even get passionate. I just get frantic. Like it doesn't serve my passion to move below, like to move below a certain financial floor. But once I'm above that floor, the opportunity to act on my passion shows up. And this is just a little thing from Esther that I recall was like, look, you quitting your job probably doesn't, we've talked about this, like quitting your job doesn't make sense,
Right.
right? Is not going to bring you happiness. Being broke isn't going to bring you happiness. That's not the thing. You can't just go and fuck everything and then be like, well, I'm doing what makes me happy. So abundance is going to come. No, not if you're fucking broke, not if you can't eat. You're not going to be happy. That's not the way that works. Um,
Huh. I just think that's interesting because I feel like, I mean, in one way, I feel like that's the privilege you're speaking to. Like if my bills are covered, there's a privilege that happens that I can now be present with my now that you don't have when your bills aren't paid. And you're like, how do I get present to now when I don't know how I'm going to put food on the table tomorrow? Yeah.
no, I don't think that's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
I think you could definitely hear that in this, but that's not what I'm saying. I don't think you can go chase your you can't go chase your passion if you're living below your minimally if you're living below your floor. You got to create a financial now, whatever it is. I mean, if you're a solo person and you don't need very much, then maybe you can go live in the woods, eat berries. You don't, the amount of it's not important, but if you're not going to eat, you're not going to have, there's nothing you can't go chase your passion.
Yeah, but I think okay, yeah, and I also the second thought in there is I feel well, you tell me. I feel like a lot of the people who are interested in this conversation are people who are living below their means. They're like living below their that's not what I mean. They have needs that they can't currently meet financially. They're stretched thin financially, and so they're interested in because they don't want to hustle to get to the floor.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
they're
good.
looking to things like law of
So, but I don't
attraction to
think
get
that
to the
has anything
floor.
to do with now. Now is still very viable, regardless of where you are relative to your financial means. I was just speaking about, my taking time away from my work, generating income to go work on my passion. Um, the
Yeah, but
mindfulness.
I feel
But I
like you
think the
said,
meditation part, I think the part about being here now,
yeah,
right? You let go of all that. I think part of that was I got to let go of, okay, well, I'm supposed to be working my path, all that supposed to be working on this. I got to work on this. I hate doing the lead gen. I hate doing that.
Yeah.
All that stuff loosens its coil, and you get to go, okay, what's wanted and needed right now is I'm going to drive Uber until I get,
Sure.
like, but with no shame. The shame is part of what now an empty now would allow for,
Mm-hmm.
uh, of acting in a way that's consistent with what is wanted and needed in the moment with power is what that kind of meditation that kind of mindful living allows for, and will move you through that space
Yeah.
quicker than I I'm gonna fucking hustle this into something else, or I'm gonna do this and this is embarrassing that I'm driving Uber, and all that the other iterations of having to figure it out. I think those are two
Yeah.
distinct things. I think
Yeah.
you can get yourself in a position of privilege
Yeah.
quicker by letting go, by practicing
Mm.
emptying the now of meaning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get that. I get that.
Yeah, that's the way those two things are related for me. Good. All right. Well, you can put a pin in it there for today,
Love that.
unless you got something.
No, I love that.
Okay. All right. Well,
You
happy
just stopped
anniversary.
talking.
Not really. It's not really our anniversary, but
No,
the
it was
anniversary.
June 2022 is when we started the podcast.
All right.
So
So it's
stay tuned,
a
everybody, till
3 year and
next
three
June
month anniversary.
2026.
Yeah.
That's right. We'll have a big shindig for our fourth anniversary in June of 2026.
That's right. On my private yacht.
Yeah, man. Let's go. Let's
Let's
fly
go.
on your private jet to your private yacht.
That's right.
Okay, friends.
Hookers and blow, baby.
If you want to learn more about the mindful path of business, slaying one hustle, what is it?
Slaying the dragon of hustle culture, one mindful moment
Mindful
at a
moment at
time.
a time. There you go. Yeah. Then you should go to therealtorsedge.com if you're a realtor to learn more about the free 9 week mindfulness meditation course that Aaron does. And if you're not a realtor but you are in business, you can go to the Grateful Breath, thegratefulbreath.com,
Yeah.
and get on the interest list there for the next cohort that's coming up. Thanks everybody for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, and you know what? I would love it if you would share this with somebody that you think would really value. They're in a mindful space in their life right now, and they would really value having some perspective. Would you share this with somebody? Because that's how that's how we walk this out. So,
Yeah.
all right, thanks everybody. Peace.
Peace.